Welcome back to the Spirit of the Derby. Well, Dan, you and I both live in central Kentucky, surrounded by some of the most beautiful horse farms, and you recently got to visit one of them.
Yes, just off of picturesque Pisgah Pike sits WinStar Farm.
This is WinStar Farm, a massive thoroughbred operation with 150 employees and involved on every level of the industry: breeding, sales, training, and racing. It's taken 15 years to get to this. When the farm began, it was not much bigger than the one Elliot Walden grew up on.
Well, it actually started just 5 miles that way. I grew up in Midway and grew up on a farm. Dad had 300 acres and had a small operation, had 2 or 3 stallions at one time, and had 20 or 30 brood mares, and made a living commercially by selling the offspring and then trying to acquire some stallions. Had a racing division as well, smaller, 8 to 10. I always told him and my mom growing up that the farm was too slow. There wasn't enough action for me on the farm. So that's why I gravitated towards the racetrack and ended up training horses for 22 years.
Elliot is, he's driven to begin with. I mean, he's got so much energy. He never stops.
Walden went from training horses for WinStar to becoming its racing manager in 2005. 5 years ago, he was elevated to president and CEO.
We started with 400 acres and started with an office that was 1,000, 1,500 square feet to now we have one over 10,000 square feet. We have 2,500 acres and 20 stallions. When they bought the farm, there was 3.
It was during the expansion that WinStar fortuitously purchased an AP Indy mare named Supercharger.
She was in foal to a horse named Maria's Mont.
She was purchased through the sale for $160,000.
When we got Super Saver, he was a very kind of a pretty foal without being the wow factor.
They wanted to sell him, tried to sell him, but this was 2009 and the market was at its bottom. No one was willing to pay what WinStar felt Super Saver was worth.
Did I know he was a Derby winner at that time? No, I didn't. But he was training well enough. We didn't feel like we were going to maximize his value, so we ended up putting him in the racing division.
Well, behind me you see our 2010 Kentucky Derby winner. Not only is he a Kentucky Derby winner, but he's our homebred Kentucky Derby winner, which makes it even more special. Last year he was also #2 on the freshman sire list, so it's a great thing to be able to raise a horse here on the farm, as well as win the Kentucky Derby with him, and then be able to put him in your stallion barn and have him be a successful sire.
And that's the goal for owner Kenny Trout.
Kenny is interested in sustaining it for his kids in the future. So our whole business model is to produce stallions, preferably from our own mares. You know, we take them cradle to grave if possible.
And Super Saver is doing his part.
Super Saver is probably one of the busiest stallions here in Kentucky this year. We'll breed approximately 170 mares to him this year. His fee went from $20,000 last year up to $30,000 this year.
WinStar also has 2009 Kentucky Derby runner-up Pioneer of the Nile, who is the sire of this year's Arkansas Derby runaway winner, American Pharoah.
He was leading second crop sire last year for us. He also has hopefully the favorite in the Derby.
And American Pharoah is putting on a show!
Love to be able to say Carpe Diem is going to be the favorite, but American Pharoah, right now he was champion 2-year-old, and he'll probably be the favorite in the Kentucky Derby this year.
American Pharoah!
WinStar does not own American Pharoah, but does own this year's Bluegrass Stakes winner,
Carpe Diem,
in partnership with Stone Street Stables.
We actually were underbidder on Carpe Diem as a yearling.
25, 35, now 55.50.
We had put a price tag about $500 on him, bid one more time, didn't get him, and moved on.
But 7 months later, Walden saw Carpe Diem in Florida at the Ocala Breeders' Sales.
And so he worked at the 2-year-old sale, and immediately I got a pit in my stomach and felt, why didn't I buy this horse as a yearling?
But Walden knows talent when he sees it. So WinStar and Stone Street seized the day and ponied up $1.6 million for Carpe Diem.
It's kind of like working for the Yankees, I think. You know, you get the best of everything, and you know, the Yankees, they get to win those 27 championships, and we've only won 1 Derby so far, but we're chasing, you know, hopefully we'll be able to set some records here.
The moves WinStar makes are all about sustaining a business. But make no mistake, winning at Churchill Downs on the first Saturday in May is a fire that burns within.
The trophy signifies what we get up for every day. I mean, there are certain benchmarks in this industry we all strive for. And it's not only the farm with 2,000 acres. It's the farm that raised Carpe Diem in Paris that has 200 acres, and Bo Lane, he's been in the business his whole life, you know, and he's probably working harder than I am because he's doing more physical labor each and every day because he doesn't have 150 employees. It means as much to him as it does to us. It's not about the money that we do this.
It's about the passion, especially for Walden. It's in his pedigree.
The one thing about WinStar is we dream big, and we dream big every day.
Now don't go